Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lecture 19 of natural language processing. So today we will start discussing two applications in NLP. One of them is called POS tagging or part of speech tagging, and the other one is named entity recognition. So we will introduce these applications and then we will start discussing the whole problem of sequence modeling. And as you know, natural language is essentially a sequence of linguistic units. And as such, sequence modeling has a lot of importance in natural language processing. So with these two applications, we'll introduce the whole idea of sequence modeling and then discuss a few techniques in sequence modeling. We will start with the basic probabilistic modeling approach, which is based on hidden Markov models. And then we'll move on to neural network-based solutions, which is basically based on recurrent neural networks or LSTM and gated recurrent units. So that is basically the agenda for today and maybe the next lecture. So, so any questions before I get started?
सर वर्ड टू वर्ड में से क्वेश्चन था एक सर उसमें सर उसमें बेसिकली बुक में लिखा हुआ था कि नेगेटिव एग्जांपल्स जनरेट कराने के लिए हम रैंडमाइजेशन यूज करते हैं तो ओवर द होल लेक्सिकॉन टू गेट रैंडम कॉन्टेक्स्ट जो कि उसके साथ वर्ड के टारगेट वर्ड के साथ में होते हैं तो नेक्स्ट में ये भी मेंशन था कि नॉइज काइंड ऑफ लाइक कोई नॉइज एडिशन का मेंशन था तो आई डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड कि नॉइज एडिशन क्या नेगेटिव सैंपल्स ही हैं
नॉइज के बारे में जरा फिर से बताएं क्या लिखा हुआ था?
नॉइज एडिशन के बारे में स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन था मुझे प्लीज मनी ऐसी नॉइज एडिशन क्या नेगेटिव सैंपल्स ही हैं जो हम ऐड कर रहे हैं और इज समथिंग एल्स
No, noise is different from negative sampling. Negative sampling is the whole idea of converting a multi-class classification problem to multiple binary classification problems. So for that, you need negative samples. And of course, this is done to improve the learning of the model. So we talked about this last time. So noise, I'm not too sure what it meant. One thing that we typically do in noise is like, for example, we add random noise into the vectors. And the whole idea of doing that is to improve the robustness of the models. But I'm not too sure if that is what is meant here. So maybe I'll look it up and let you know next time.
Okay, sir.
Any other question? So, so maybe I'll quickly discuss the two applications using slides, and then we'll move on to the mathematical modeling for such kind of problems. So we are looking at the problem of POS tagging. So first of all, what is POS, part of speech? So we talked about part of speech way back during the start of the semester when we discussed linguistic briefly. So in general, a part of speech is basically one of those grammatical classes that we assign to words. So we can think part of speech, for example, common part of speech are noun, verbs, adjectives, pronouns, and adverbs. So these are part of speech. And the problem of part of speech tagging is the problem of assigning appropriate part of speech labels or tags to words in running text, to words in a sequence of words. So for example, in this slide, you can see an example. So the lead paint is unsafe. So this is the original sequence of words. But for each of those words, we now assign a label to it. And that table is from the possible tags for POS. So D becomes a determiner. So lead, of course, is a noun, paint is noun, is a verb. So unsafe is an adjective. So labeling words with these part of speech tags is called POS tagging. So POS tagging has numerous applications. Uh, so POS tagging is used in many NLP applications, often the first step. Uh, so by knowing the POS tag, so you can do better stemming as well as lemmatization. So if you remember, there are some rules that we had to apply for stemming, for example. So those rules would benefit much if you know the word is a noun, is a verb, it's an adjective, and so on. Similarly, for the case of lemmatization. So lemma is generally the root word, the head word in a dictionary, and it may have many variations or inflected forms. So knowing which particular form a word is would help you find the lemma better. So parsing is a common technique in NLP in which running text is divided into linguistic components. And obviously to do that, you will need to know the part of speech of each word. So those components could be, for example, sentences, phrases, clauses, noun phrases, verb phrases, and so on. So to do this, you will need to know about the part of speech of each word. Of course, parsing is a much bigger field. We will not be studying parsing in any detail in this course. Usually in modern day NLP, we can directly tackle the end problem rather than going through the intermediate problem of parsing and then solving the end problem. But traditionally, parsing was a big area in NLP. So for example, also there are some languages that are subject, verb, object. The order in which words are written. So you have a subject and then a verb and then object. English is one of them. And this is a way of parsing. So if you can identify a verb, then subject and object both would be nouns. You can parse the sentence using that. So information extraction is another application where POS helps. Obviously, we are interested in various things in running text, things like names of people, names of organization, places, and so on. So all of those have their grammatical classes. For example, names are usually nouns. So first knowing whether a word is a noun would help you better detect whether it is a name or not. And of course, POS tagging helps in other bigger applications as well, like machine translation, like sentiment classification, like even topic modeling. Why? Because knowing the POS would help you better translate the word. So there are some words that have different POS. For example, I give this example many times, LIVE, live, is a verb and live is an adjective. You can a live telecast or I live in Lahore, for example. And of course, even in speech synthesis, POS tag is important. For example, LIVE is pronounced live in one case and is pronounced as live in another case. So the distinction would only come once the POS is known. Okay. So most common parts of speech is about 6 to 7. So noun, adverb, adjective, prepositions, conjunctions, and so on, determiners, articles. But if you go deeper into this and you go study what linguists have said, they are like tons of parts of speech. They are very fine grained classification of words. So, and obviously, sometimes they also differ and there are conflicts between them. But in most NLP, we don't worry about those things. We go ahead with the most common set of part of speech as our tags. So they are known by other names as well, as you can see here, morphological classes or word classes and so on. Okay. So this is an example of a part of speech tagging. So, and obviously we'll assign some appropriate label to each of those POS. So usually N denotes a noun, a V denotes a verb, A, D, J denotes an adjective. So some examples of nouns are given. So verbs, study, debate, and so on. Adjectives usually kind of qualify nouns and they represent behavior, manner, various attributes of nouns, for example, color, purple, and so on. So adverbs can modify both verbs and nouns, and the common adverbs have a ly at the end. So quickly and so on, slowly, unfortunately. So preposition basically relate to, you can say relate something to a noun, for example, behind the bed or over the bed or on the bed. So all of these on, behind are prepositions. So pronoun, of course, are kind of a way of representing people. So you, mine, them, his, her, she, he, all of these are pronouns. So determiners are, for example, a, the, article of, sometimes they're also called articles. Of course, if you go into the final classification, there's of course a difference, but we won't go into those details. Okay, so these are the most common parts of speech, but they are more than that. So these are some examples of tagging running text with POS. And as I said before also, you can have, it's not generally obviously clear a particular tag for a particular word. So you have to look at the context, you have to look at the meaning of the word before you can assign the correct tag for a particular word. So in general, this problem is not completely unambiguous. It is ambiguous. There is some degree of uncertainty, and that is why we want to solve it automatically. So we have actually already looked at this slide before. Okay, the next thing that we'll briefly talk about is there are some POS tags, as we said before, we can also call them word classes that are open and some that are closed. What does that mean? An open class is one for which new words get added, sometimes even deleted from that class. While closed classes are those for which words are fixed and they don't typically change over time. So there are some POSs for which the set of words remain the same over time. Those are called cold, so those are called closed. And there are some POSs whose members may change over time. So these are called open. So obviously इसमें clear examples हैं. So noun, for example, is usually open. New nouns can be coined over time. The most common example is nowadays is COVID, for example. So COVID is a new word that is a noun. Okay? So generally nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and even verbs are open classes or open POS, while pronouns and prepositions and conjunctions, these are closed classes. The set of words in these classes do not change with time. Okay? So obviously you can see that once you have it, since the classes are open, so there is ambiguity in this sense as well. So a new word might come in that we do not really know a priori, and that might cause some errors in our detection problem. So these are just examples. So nouns are open classes. So, and of course, if you go deeper into the linguistic, there are various further sub-classifications of these classes. So proper nouns hote hain, common nouns hote hain, there might be others as well for adjectives, adverbs, and so on. Okay. So we won't spend, we are not too worried about that. But obviously, if there is an application that is based on that, you would probably then study that particular type in more detail and then tune your algorithm accordingly. So these are some examples of closed class words. ठीक है, इसमें typically prepositions हैं, conjunctions हैं, and so on, pronouns हैं. Again ये examples ही चल रही हैं, conjunctions हैं. So now the question arises, as I mentioned from the previous few slides, the set of possible tags can vary. So the most common set of tags for English is about 6 or 7. But if you go deeper, you can have even dozens and even sometimes up to 100 set of tags. So the question is, which set of tags should we use, let's say, if you want to develop an application? The first answer obviously is, of course, it's application dependent. Okay? So if your application does require finer grained tagging, then obviously you use a much larger tag set. Okay? But for most NLP applications, I think 4, 5, even 3, 2 would be sufficient. So if you talk about the best 3, then noun, verb, and adjective. If you want more, then maybe you can add adverb, prepositions, conjunctions, and what else? Pronouns as more. And beyond this, I have not seen many applications that use more than 6, 7 tags for POS tagging. So they could be coarse, they could be fine, but you have to decide for your particular application. Okay. There are various standard tag sets that are already defined. There is one which is known by the name universal tag set, which has, I think, about 17 tags. And then there is another famous, which is called the Penn Tree Bank. I think on the next slide. Yeah, Penn Tree Bank. These are 45 in number. So, and of course, they have their associated abbreviations as well. So we are kind of labeling this passage with the tags from the Penn Tree Bank tag set. So that was a quick introduction to POS tagging. So let me do a quick similar introduction to information extraction, and then we'll move on to the mathematical model. So any questions so far? So by the way, we do have a quiz at the end of today's class, as we mentioned last time. So around 1:35. So information extraction is the more general problem of our extracting information of interest from running text, from corpora of natural language. Okay? And information extraction could be anything that you can think of. It could be events that you want to find. It could be names of people that you want to find. It could be dates. It could be relationships between, let's say, two entities, like two people that you like to verify from text. Anything that is related to extracting structured information from text is called information extraction. So information extraction of also often abbreviated as IE, information extraction, and this is of course to distinguish it from IR, information retrieval. Okay. So this is basically mentioning the definition. So try to find relevant and specific information from running text, and then maybe collect them into some represented form that can be used automatically by computers. So some knowledge base. Okay. So it could even include things like common things like fire is hot, for example, and ice is cold. So relationships between these two words, trying to establish these relationships from running text. So this also falls under information extraction. Okay, as I said, this is quite a big field, information extraction. So one of the most popular application or subtask in information extraction is named entity recognition. So named entity recognition basically means that we want to find entities of specific types, which is the named type, from running text. And the most common named types that we are interested in NER are people, places, locations, organizations, and so on. So when our task is to find names of people or places or locations or organizations from text, then we call that named entity recognition. Just a second. Okay. And one of the, I think, most common applications of information extraction is Google nowadays. Of course, Google was originally information retrieval, but now it can also do Google information extraction. So you can ask various questions. For example, when was the, or where was the cricket World Cup cricket final played in, I think when was the last World Cup cricket final? I don't know the year, in that particular year. Or who won the last World Cup, football World Cup. So this is also information extraction. You have a query, of course. From that query, you need to extract the relevant information. And that relevant information is usually a named entity, a name of a place, name of a person, name, a date, a time, and so on. Okay. So headquarter of a particular organization, for example, and so on. Who is the father of a particular famous person? Anything that you can think of would be information extraction. This is kind of an old slide now. It's quite popular. I think most websites as well as search engines do that. Your Outlook client also does that, and so on. ठीक है, एग्जाम्पल ही चल रही है, so let's move forward. So these are some applications where you can use named entity. Sentiment analysis is one of the key applications. But as I said, you can have tons of applications, productivity applications, and other applications where named entities need to be recognized. Plus, of course, named entity is essential for building knowledge bases automatically. Okay? You need to have a way of grouping entities. For example, the relationship between a city and a country, for example. Lahore is a named entity, Pakistan is a named entity. So you will extract those named entities and maybe then establish the relationship between them. That Lahore is a city in Pakistan. Okay. So of course, this is a much bigger field, and I think advanced NLP में ये चीजें और भी हम cover कर सकते हैं. But here we'll focus on the named entity recognition problem only. But information extraction is a much bigger problem. We also focus on building ontologies and knowledge bases, graphical structures of knowledge and information that you have seen in running text. So now let me stop this and now move on to my, any questions so far? So we had talked about POS tagging and NER, named entity recognition. So first, let me just start with POS tagging. So for example, I have a sequence of words, I live in Lahore. So this is a sequence of words. So the problem of POS tagging is, given such a sequence of words, I want to assign appropriate tags to each word indicating its part of speech. And the tag set is usually fixed, and predefined. ठीक है? So let's say मैं कहता हूँ मेरा tag set noun है, verb है, let's say preposition है, and of course noun, verb, preposition, live, तो pronoun भी होगा, pronoun, ठीक है ना? So if I take these two by my tag sets, then my sequence of tags corresponding to this sequence of words would be pronoun, ठीक है? Verb, live, in is preposition, and Lahore is noun. Okay? And of course, you can write this together as well. So you can write I and then after the slash, give the tag. Okay? So this is POS tagging. So similarly, what is NER? So NER may, again, you have a set of tags. So let's say I have a set, and I will define this shortly because there's an issue here. So let's say the set of tag is, let's say we're only focusing on name of a person or not. So person, let's say other, दो tags हैं, ठीक है? So let's say मेरे पास एक sentence है, my name is Asim. तो इसका जो corresponding tag sequence होगा, of course, the original sequence is a sequence of words, and our output is a sequence of tags. ठीक है? So my, of course, is other. Let me just abbreviate O. My name is also O, and then is also O, and then Asim is the name of the person P. So मेरा tag sequence ये होगा, and this is what we want to get as output from NER. ठीक है? But इसमें एक जो थोड़ा सा issue आता है, which we would like to address and update our tag set accordingly, is usually named entities are not just single words. They might be multiple words separated by spaces. So in my case as well, my name is Asim, for example, Kareem. ठीक है? So इस sense में I can label it O, 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 and P and P. ठीक है? Now this P and P doesn't really tell me whether this first P and the second P is the same entity or these are two entities. ठीक है? So, and of course from the context, we know that this is the same entity, but the labels that we have assigned and the tags that we are using does not distinguish between that. Okay? So the most common encoding for tags for NER is what is known as the BIO encoding. So this stands for beginning, inside, outside. So this is called the beginning, inside, outside encoding. Sometimes ये IOB भी लिखा जाता है, BIO भी लिखा जाता है. So literature में दोनों तरह से लिखा जा रहा है. B पहले लिखा हुआ है, B बाद में लिखा हुआ है. But again, these are the three distinguishing characteristics. तो उसमें फिर अब इस तरह होता है कि so the now my tag set would become beginning person, inside person, and O, others. ठीक है? And then if I use this tag set, then my name is Asim Kareem would become O, name O, is O, then B/P, and then inside /P. So now this sequence now tells me that B, P, and IP is the same entity that is continuing. Okay? And as such, I can now know that this is one entity, Asim Kareem, not two entities. So of course, you have several examples. For example, Lahore University of Management Sciences. So the whole sequence of these words is one entity, not each word as a separate entity. You can, इसके लिए obviously, now this is of course location or place. तो इसका B, L होगा, ठीक है? Then basically आपके पास basically IL, Lahore University, IL off हो जाएगा. Then IL management हो गया, IL sciences हो गया. And then you have others after that, if there are other things after that. ठीक है? So in the same way, you have to be careful while evaluating named entity recognition models. So your evaluation can either be entity-based or token-based evaluation. ठीक है ना? तो एंटिटी बेस्ड में ऑफ कोर्स क्या होगा कि जब आपने सारी एंटिटी करेक्टली आइडेंटिफाई कर ली है तो फिर आप उसको एक करेक्ट कहेंगे. इफ इसमें आपने करेक्ट नहीं किया, फॉर एग्जांपल लाहौर यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ मैनेजमेंट साइंसेज जो था, मैंने BL किया और उसके बाद मेरे पास अदर दे दिया, फिर मैंने BL किया, फिर IL किया, and so on. So it means that I have not identified Lahore University of Management Sciences. So I made one mistake on recognizing a particular entity. But if you look at the token level, so token level में ये पहला token सही detect हो गया है, दूसरा वाला सही नहीं हुआ, तीसरा भी ठीक था, चौथा भी ठीक था, ठीक है ना। तो टोकन लेवल में इवेल्युएशन, यू लुक एट वर्ड बाय वर्ड एंड देयर अप्रोप्रिएट लेबल्स। ठीक है, ओके, एनी क्वेश्चंस? So peers tagging and named entity recognition is, I think, chapter 8 of your textbook. And of course, the 2 slides for this material I've also uploaded, and they are available. So traditionally, peers tagging and NER were considered separately, because the techniques that were used for peers tagging were somewhat different from those that were used for NER. But nowadays, both of them are now studied together because the techniques are essentially the same. Okay. Okay, now let's, if there are no questions, we can move on to the actual, how do you solve this problem? So I hope you understand what the problem is. So yeah, if you're given any sequence of words, we would like to assign for each word in that sequence a tag from the tag set that captures our semantics of the problem. Meaning that if it is Pearce tagging, then for each word, we would like to assign the appropriate tag from the Pearce tag set. And if it is a named entity recognition problem, we would like to assign appropriate tag from BIO encoding of places, location, organizations, and so on. By the way, named entity recognition may, the named entity could be various. So as I said, it could be place. So you can say person, location, organization. It can even be date. It could be time. It could be currency. It could be even finer grained stuff like, so for example, whether a particular organization, particular location is the, for example, the headquarter of a company. So for example, you can define a named entity called headquarter. So finer grained tags भी आप define कर सकते हैं according to your application. ठीक है? So ठीक है? Okay, now let's move on to the techniques for solving these problems. ठीक है? So traditionally we used rule-based. So rule-based approach was, of course, based on some set of rules, which were often coded by human beings, or maybe somewhat learned automatically and then adopted by human beings, and then those rules were applied to detect whether a particular word was a noun or a verb or an adjective and so on. Okay, but such techniques became outdated and they do not perform well as compared to other techniques since the 1990s. So nowadays, we basically use machine learning approaches. ठीक है? So machine learning approaches may, and obviously, so as you know, in machine learning, you have probabilistic models, or probabilistic models may under, of course, you have generative models and you have discriminative models. ठीक है? And then statistical कह सकते हैं, but more modern आजकल neural network. मॉडल्स हैं, तो इसमें मोस्टली डिस्क्रिमिनेटिव है. ऑफ कोर्स कुछ जनरेटिव भी हो सकते हैं, but they are not that common, so mostly they're discriminative. And the whole idea in these models is we are not modeling entities independent of other entities. We are actually modeling sequences. So that's why we also call this sequence modeling. Okay? So we are trying to look at the sequence of words, and then based on that sequence of words and other information that we have, we'll need to make predictions, which are also sequences. So tag set जो हम आउटपुट कर रहे हैं वो भी एक सीक्वेंस है. ठीक है? So in essence, so what we are starting right now in terms of modeling is sequence modeling. ठीक है? So previously we talked about classification, in which we did not explicitly model the sequence. We, of course, we did explicit model the sequence when we were talking about language modeling. Probabilistic language modeling में हमने किया था, but जो हमने language model neural network का बनाया था वो simple feed forward network use किया था हमने. वहाँ we did not use explicit sequence modeling. So here we are going to do explicit sequence modeling. Okay, so we will start with the probabilistic model. Okay, so probabilistic model of course can be generative as well as discriminative. Generative में वही Bayes rule का जो right वाला part use हो रहा होता है, और discriminative में left वाला directly हम estimate करते हैं. वही distinction है जो logistic regression और naive Bayes वाली है. ठीक है? But of course, as I said, now sequence is important. So let's now formulate the problem. By the way, इस formulation के लिए मैंने slides बनाई हुई हैं. So these slides, I made them some time back. So this is the precise formulation that we'll be following. So notation is somewhat consistent with the book, but book में at least जो previous version था उसका मुझे पता है उसमें inconsistent notation थी. So that's why I made these slides. तो ये slides में notations अब consistent है. So you need to have a better control over the notation to understand this, because otherwise थोड़ी सी confusing हो जाता है. So maybe मैं slide से ही शुरू कर लेता हूँ. Let's see. Okay. So what is the problem setting? So let's go through this slide step by step. So we have a sequence of events, and these events of course are observed. So let's take our running example as POS tagging. So the sequence of sequence of events is a sequence of words that we see. For example, I live in Lahore. I live in Lahore. So this is the sequence, and we denote this sequence with the capital letter O. And of course, the individual event in this sequence is O1, O2 to O subscript capital T. So T is the length of the sequence. Capital T is the length of the sequence. Okay? So O basically is, of course, a variable which can take on a value from a vocabulary. So we denote capital V with the vocabulary. And in the case of POS tagging, and even for named entity recognition, this is a set of distinct words, the same terminology that we have been using before vocabulary के लिए. But of course, for different problems, ये V different हो सकती है. but in this case, it's the set of distinct words. So each event is actually a word from the vocabulary. And of course, इसका जो length है, it's equal to vocabulary का absolute से denote किया है. Or each particular word in the vocabulary denoted by the small letter v. ठीक है? And then we have a sequence of labels. So obviously for each word or each event, we have to assign a label. Okay? So that sequence of labels is denoted by capital Q, and each small q is Q1 to Qt, which is of course the length of the sequence. Okay? And each Q, small q, is a state or a label from the possible set of labels capital S. So S1, S2 to Sn. So N, capital N, is the total number of possible states. So in the case of POS tagging, this would be the POS tags. So for example, S1 को आप noun कह सकते हैं, S2 आपका verb होगा, S3 preposition होगा, adjective होगा, and so on. N would be the total number of adjectives, total number of POS tags that you are using for your problem. ठीक है? So oftentimes a starting state and a finish state is also used, will become clearer later on. S0 and SF, वो यहाँ लिखा हुआ है मैंने. ठीक है? So maybe I'll go back to my notes. So far we have defined our sequences O, and we have defined a sequence Q. So हमारी जो problem थी, for example, I live in Lahore is basically my O, and let's say मेरे पास जो इसका sequence of जो था tags था, so I is basically a pronoun, and live is a verb, in is preposition, and a noun. So this is my corresponding Q. ठीक है? So जो हमारा problem is now completely defined by these two sequences. And in general, these sequences could be whole corpora, huge corpus. So O could be complete books and whatever, and Q would be the corresponding labels for those words in the book. Okay? So to completely define this problem from a probabilistic sense, you need to know the joint probability of O and Q. Okay, na? So from a probabilistic sense, if you know this joint probability, you can solve several problems for this problem, for this setting. ठीक है ना? So this is the joint over the words and the tags. Okay. So in general, we define three problems. Okay. The first problem is called the likelihood problem. So likelihood problem क्या है? So the likelihood problem is, so given a model, whenever I say a model, it means that we know the full joint between O and Q. So given this model, I want to find the probability of a particular sequence O. Let's say O prime कर देते just to distinguish it. So let's say मेरे पास एक POS tagging का model है which is PO, Q. ठीक है? अब मैं चाहता हूं कि given this, I want to know whether I live or so So I want to know actually probability of O prime actually. ठीक है कि एक पर्टिकुलर सीक्वेंस ऑफ वर्ड्स कितना प्रोबेबल है. सो फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे हमने कहा था आई लिव इन लाहौर एंड एक और लेट्स से लिखता हूं आई लाहौर लिव इन. ठीक है ना. So according to the model, which is probability of O and Q for the English language, which probability would be higher for I live in Lahore or I Lahore live in? So पहली वाली की ज़्यादा होगी ना. So this problem is called a likelihood problem. How likely is a particular sequence of events, in this case is particular sequence of words, given a model, and the model of course is the PO tagging model defined by the probability PO, the distribution you can say of O and Q. So is this clear? So when I say probability of O and Q as the model, what does this mean? Basically this means that कि आपने इसको ये distribution आपके पास available है. So जब ये distribution available है ना, तो फिर आपके पास हर एक combination of O and हर एक combination of Q की कोई probability होगी. ठीक है ना. So obviously कोई combination इस तरह का है I live in Lahore, ये O है. और इसका उल्टा सीधा मैं कोई बना लेता हूँ. वर्ब पहले था और लेट्स से बाकी नाउन था, फिर नाउन था और preposition था. इसकी probability will be low. ठीक है ना. Because obviously वो sequence is not matching with the sequence of tags. So similarly, probability of I Lahore live in, और मैं वही ओरिजिनल टैग सीक्वेंस कर देता हूँ. पहला preposition है, दूसरा मेरे पास था वर्ब था उधर, तीसरा मेरे पास preposition था, pronoun preposition था, और लास्ट था noun था. This would also be low. ठीक है ना. Meaning that I have this entire distribution, I can plug in my sequence of words and I can plug in my sequence of tags, and this would tell me कि वो कितना probable है. And based on this, I can decide which sequence of words is more probable. ठीक है. So this is actually known as the likelihood problem. So let's say talk about problem 2. So this is called a decoding problem. पहला वाला likelihood problem था, decoding problem था. Decoding problem में क्या है? You are given, of course, the model. Model is given, and you're also given O, some O. Let's say just to distinguish it from that is, remember जब मैं लिखता हूँ P, O और Q, I am saying this is the distribution. उसमें जो O है वो of course a variable है, और जो बाद में मैं O लिख रहा हूँ वो भी एक variable है, but it's talking about a specific instantiation of that variable. ठीक है. So now we have the model and we are given some O prime, and then I want to find Q prime corresponding to O prime. ठीक है. So मतलब ये है कि जैसे previous problem थी, मेरे पास I live in Lahore, O prime है, and I want to find the best Q prime for this. ठीक है. Given the model, of course. So this actually is what is of course called the decoding problem, but also the sequence labeling problem or the sequence classification problem. ठीक है. Because हमारे पास एक sequence of input है और हर एक sequence के साथ मुझे एक label चाहिए as output. Q prime मेरा output है. So this is the sequence classification या sequence labeling problem. And of course POS tagging हम इसी तरह ही करेंगे. हमारे पास कोई Q होगा, हमारे पास कोई O होगा as input, उसका हमने Q निकालना है given my model. वो जो Q होगा, that would be my labels. ठीक है? So this is the sequence labeling problem, and then we have problem 3. This is actually the learning problem, and I divide this into 3A. 3A में basically क्या होता है? We have O and Q data. So this is given, then find probability of O and Q. ठीक है? मतलब ये है कि आपके पास डेटा है, लेट्स से आपके पास एक पूरी बुक है जिसमें सारे वर्ड्स हैं विच इज O, और हर एक वर्ड का Q भी दिया हुआ है. अब मैंने उससे एक मॉडल बनाना है. ठीक है ना? सो of course then we are building a model, we are learning a model, and model in a probabilistic science is trying to learn the joint distribution between O and Q. ठीक है? And of course, since the data is completely labeled, so this is supervised learning. ठीक है? So this is problem 3A, and then we have problem 3B. In this case, we only have O as data. Let's say एक book है आपके पास, उसमें सिर्फ words हैं, and then we only have S. And S क्या था? This was a possible set of tags. ठीक है? हमारे पास सारे tags नहीं available, सिर्फ हमको set पता है कि हमने noun, verb और adjective या whatever जो भी set है वो है. Then here again we want to find P, O, Q, मतलब model हमने learn करना है. So this is also learning, but here tags exactly known नहीं है, सिर्फ tag set known है. So of course this is unsupervised. ठीक है? And actually you might be thinking कि ये तो problems are difficult नहीं होगी, but since natural language has some rules, and of course you can get a lot of data, you can learn this quite well. मुश्किल नहीं है. आपने, you can learn this quite well without even having initial labels for the data. So this is the third problem. So ये तीनों problems हम थोड़ी सी आप briefly discuss करेंगे. Then this would be probably in the next class. So I think I will probably stop here, and if you have any questions वो हम ले सकते हैं. So attendance आपकी class में the question.
जी sir. So the question is about the skipgram, because we discussed it very briefly.
जी.
So in the skipgram, we remove the last softmax layer and replace it with the sigmoid.
That is the skipgram with negative sampling.
Yes.
Talk about just simple skipgram तो वो तो of course.
नहीं, मेरा क्वेश्चन जो है वो नेगेटिव सैम्पलिंग के साथ ही, उसमें हम उसको रिमूव करके हम सिग्मॉइड लगा देते हैं.
जी.
तो जब हम सिग्मॉइड लगा देते हैं उसका मतलब हमारी इनपुट आउटपुट हमारा पेयर हमारा क्या बनता है? अगर हम उसके नेगेटिव हम सैंपल्स कर लेते हैं 100 या मतलब फ्यू हंड्रेड हम नेगेटिव सैंपल्स डाल लेते हैं कॉन्टेक्स्ट के विदाउट, तो वो कुछ क्लियर नहीं हो रहा था कि उसका हमारा इनपुट आउटपुट पेयर क्या बनेगा.
तो उसमें जब आप सिग्मॉइड कर लेते हैं then you have the notion of positive and negative examples. ठीक है ना? तो लेट्स से आपके पास मैं कोई सेंटेंस ले लेता हूँ, लाहौर यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ मैनेजमेंट साइंसेस. ठीक है ना? इनपुट वर्ड तो आपके पास एक टारगेट वर्ड होता है. तो लेट्स से मैं इनपुट वर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी ले रहा हूँ. ठीक है ना? यूनिवर्सिटी, और कॉन्टेक्स्ट वर्ड आउटपुट होता है. ठीक है ना? तो यहाँ एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट वर्ड एक लाहौर है. ठीक है ना? और इसी यूनिवर्सिटी का एक और कॉन्टेक्स्ट वर्ड ऑफ भी है. सो बोथ ऑफ दीज आर पॉजिटिव एग्जांपल्स. ठीक है ना? But since we are doing negative sampling and we are using a sigmoid, we need to generate some negative samples as well. So negative samples जो होंगे वो यूनिवर्सिटी के साथ कोई और कॉन्टेक्स्ट वर्ड जो कभी भी पूरे कॉर्पस में नहीं आया. ऑफ कोर्स वोकैबुलरी बहुत बड़ी होती है, तो जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आ रहा होता है यूजुअली इट्स गोइंग टू बी वेरी स्मॉल, लेट्स से हंड्रेड्स में होगा. तो बाकी जो टेंस ऑफ थाउजेंड वर्ड्स हैं वो नहीं उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आते, तो उसमें टेंस ऑफ थाउजेंड्स में से कुछ हमने हंड्रेड्स में हम रैंडमली सैंपल कर लेंगे. सो अब लेट्स से यूनिवर्सिटी के नेगेटिव में हम लेट्स से कुछ भी ले लें, लेट्स से यूनिवर्सिटी के बाद लेट्स से गुजरांवाला आ रहा है, ये एक नेगेटिव हो गया. यूनिवर्सिटी के साथ लेट्स से एक और कोई वर्ड आ गया, दिस आ गया, ये भी नेगेटिव है. सो दीज टू वुड बी नेगेटिव, द फर्स्ट टू वुड बी पॉजिटिव सैंपल्स. एंड ऑफ कोर्स जो लास्ट जो नेगेटिव सैंपल ये रैंडमली हमने सैंपल किए हैं फ्रॉम द वर्ड्स दैट डू नॉट अपीयर in the context of the word university, which is a target word. Is this clear?
तो हमारा गोल ये है कि हमारा जो फाइनल आउटपुट सिग्मॉइड देगा वो लाहौर और ऑफ के लिए ग्रेटर देन 0.5 दे और दूसरे दोनों के लिए लेस देन 0.5 दे. तो क्या ये दोनों चीजें हम एज एन इनपुट दे रहे होंगे अपनी?
नहीं, ये सारे एग्जाम्पल्स होंगे ना. जब फॉर
जो
एग्जाम्पल
हमारी
एक एग्जाम्पल यूनिवर्सिटी लाहौर देंगे, जो लाहौर का नोड होगा आउटपुट वाला वही सिर्फ अपडेट होगा. रिमेंबर सिग्मॉइड में एक ही नोड अपडेट होता है, बट हम जब आप दूसरा देंगे लाहौर ऑफ का देंगे, ऑफ वाला नोड अपडेट होगा. बट सिंस वी आर डूइंग नेगेटिव सैम्पलिंग एंड यूजिंग सिग्मॉइड, तो लाहौर दिस का जो नोड है वो भी अपडेट होगा बट विद नेगेटिव सैम्पलिंग, बिकॉज दैट वुड बी ए नेगेटिव. उसकी जो भी प्रोबेबिलिटी आएगी नेगेटिव के साथ हम उसको अपडेट करेंगे. देखें आप, ये वही बिल्कुल वही चीज हो रही है ना, जैसे आप सेंटिमेंट क्लासिफिकेशन करते हैं पॉजिटिव, नेगेटिव और न्यूट्रल का. आपके पास एक एग्जांपल होता है पॉजिटिव का, तो जो पॉजिटिव वाला नोड है वो अपडेट हो रहा होता है. एक और एग्जांपल कोई आता है, इनपुट टेक्स्ट आता है, वो न्यूट्रल का होता है, न्यूट्रल का नोड अपडेट हो रहा होता है. एक और एग्जांपल आता है जो नेगेटिव का होता है, नेगेटिव का अपडेट हो रहा होता है. तो यहाँ भी वही चीजें हैं, आपके पास एग्जाम्पल्स हैं जिसमें पॉजिटिव एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, कुछ नेगेटिव वाले होते हैं.
तो हमारा जो फाइनल लास्ट आउटपुट लेयर होगी उसका साइज वही रहेगा, हमारा वो कैप साइज रहेगा,
हाँ,
लेकिन जो हमारी
वो वही
अपडेट
रहेगा,
होगी वो
वो
वन
वही
एट अ
रहेगा.
टाइम हो रही होगी.
जी जी, वो वही रहेगा.
ओके ओके, मुझे लगा था कि वो भी हमारा वन पे आ जाएगा.
नहीं
ठीक
नहीं
है,
नहीं,
दैट मेक्स सेंस.
मॉडल वही बनेगा बट हम फिर सिर्फ वो जो आउटपुट लेयर का वो जो नोड है उसके जो वेट्स हैं वही अपडेट हो रहे होंगे.
ठीक है, ओके, थैंक यू.
ठीक है, मेरे ख्याल से आपका क्विज का भी टाइम हो गया. इफ देयर आर नो क्वेश्चंस यू कैन आस्क. ऑफ कोर्स क्विज आप 2-4 मिनट लेट भी शुरू कर सकते हैं, बट आई थिंक प्रोबेबली हम या नो क्वेश्चंस.
No, sir.